I speak now on spirit possession. Spirit possession is the time that dark spirits do entwine fully with your mind. Thus your actions they bind, in the sense that you can only do what they inspire you to. So please now try and see what thoughts flow through thee, of the light or of the dark, of the lamb or the terrifying shark. All flow in telepathically through the energy that within you be. The core of love and light allows in positive thoughts from God's sight. Emotions of hatred and fear allow demonic thoughts to you veer. So now you do see the enormous calamity that earthlings soon face from the telepathically inspired mace that Satan does wield through any having no shield, being the arc of the mind that wards off dark arrows, being thoughts unkind. Some of you are aware that your thoughts are actually a communication from others, as schizophrenics often are. Most of you are not, and are also not aware that what you think is often a mixture of thoughts flowing in through many other levels. But you are all aware that some of your thoughts are often negative, depressing, confusing, and unforgiving, etc. This, for sure, is telepathic subjugation of your mind to a lesser or greater degree. Spirit possession arises through the power of our inner sin, being the negative energy we by past action drew in. The sin is the seeds of darkness within the soul. Sin has a vibrating energy field, which are the negative emotions. There are many different sins within the soul of a spirit: fear, hatred, anger, greed, jealousy, etc. This energy essence is drawn from the dark, being the negative side of the universal energy source, destructive, and surrounds the divine spark at the core of the soul, which is the positive essence drawn from the light, being the positive emotional feeling of love, creative. The act of possession, being the subjugation of our minds telepathically from the darkness, results in us sinning. This act by deed results in us drawing in more negative energy into our souls. This over time enlarges the sin within, that in itself permits us to give in more easily to dark thought. Sinning is the act of inflicting pain onto another. It is the act of taking by force or otherwise for gain. It is allowing negative energy to flow up from the dark side through us onto another. It is the dark, Satan or devil, showing itself on earth, its face, in operating through people in the flesh. It is the negative side, exerting its control over earthlings, and is the reaper in action through the ignorant. Sinning is antichrist, anti-love, merciless and unforgiving. We commit a sin as the direct result of succumbing to the negative thoughts that enter our minds through the vibration of the sin force. The sin force is the doorway through which our mind is telepathically impregnated. The negative thoughts activate the fleshly body and make it react negatively, verbally or physically. It is during this expression of sinning that we are sowing darkness, that we will later reap. The sin force energy is a part of the devil. Our negative actions have the express purpose of causing pain and spreading deceit and controlling others. The sin essence are the original sin, which have to be experienced by the evolving spirit on its evolutionary growth path. The flow of universal love draws this sin up through and eventually out of our souls on a continuing basis. until the soul is free of them all, and finally purified, a Christed soul, having only light within. As sin forces are drawn through and up towards the surface in the soul, they can grow in volume, the result of our expressed sinning deeds, and thus grow stronger in intensity and become more difficult to control. The negative emotions, being the sin, are activated by circumstances, resulting in a multiplicity of thought processes. The soul gains vast reservoirs of knowledge from the situations experienced, both positive and the negative ones. Any particular emotional sin force needs to be felt and experienced, for as such, the soul is gaining an understanding of the dark. However, it does not have to be expressed through deed. If expressed and thus sinning, the soul is supping on this evil flow and drinks of this darkness, and little by little more negative energy is drawn in. That is what enlarges the sin, giving it power over us. It is the grace of God that one day draws out this negative energy and thus cleanses our soul. After the sin force has been drawn out of our soul, we are no longer capable of sowing any more evil through that emotion, as it does not exist in us, and are more able to face our past debts to humanity, and thus reap without retaliating. When we sow good, we also reap just rewards. The power or pull of negative emotions can be difficult to control, hence the saying, chained by Satan. The powerful pull of negative feelings is within our capacity to control, if we can control the accompanying thoughts. And we should thus endeavor to overcome these thoughts and stop ourselves sinning. However, if we have sinned for ages, and thus allowed the force to grow to an enormous power within us, as some already have, and others will, we become powerless to halt the flow of dark and devious thoughts, and we can heed no truth, and thus will suffer the spiritual consequences of our actions when we pass over into spirit realms, as well as the earthly consequences of our actions here. We are all gifted as mental transceivers on a thought level, most of us being unaware of this when we are trapped in the flesh, earthly body. Our spiritual essence, containing the mental body, mind, and emotional body, feelings, does not suffer this drawback when in spirit, discarnate, and also has the full facility of its spirit mind, with all the knowledge the spirit has acquired through its evolvement. Spirits in spirit know they can reach us telepathically, but may not perceive that they too are reached mentally from lower levels. When in the flesh, the being is only using the knowledge of the mind of that particular incarnation with its limitations, with the spirit mind out of reach, so to speak. All the knowledge gained in any incarnation is flowing back into and stored within the spirit mind. There are many worlds or realms or levels of consciousness, both in the realms of the light and the realms of darkness. We are drawn to a particular realm or level as we pass over out of the flesh. Our destination depends on the vibration of the soul as it leaves the body. As we are telepathic instruments, we are subject to thoughts emanating from the light and the dark. When we do not have any negative sin force near the surface, so to speak, or triggered active, our vibration is calm and we are happy and good, receiving guidance from above. When a sin force is either near the surface or triggered through circumstances, we become aggressive or fearful, and our vision is clouded, and we become more in tune with the dark, and may succumb to the evil thoughts, and our feelings are also compounded by feelings from below, on a like-for-like basis. Because, as our negative feelings become aroused, their vibration is felt by beings in dark realms called hell, who at that very instant communicate forcefully with us telepathically, and manipulate our thought processes in an attempt to make us sin, as the act of sinning satiates not only our feelings at this time, but also theirs. This is a part of the little-known or understood area of spirit possession. By this spirit possession, as it is known, not only are our thoughts being manipulated, but our feelings are being compounded by theirs. The negative energy essence flows through both parties and intensifies the feelings being felt, and thus we can find it impossible to resist what we feel we must do, and we do it, having lost all control of our thoughts and reason and sanity, and we become robots, controlled and manipulated by the thoughts of others in unseen levels, but still responsible for the deeds we perpetrated. The mere fact that we have negative emotions within us allows mental contact to our minds from beings on other levels with similar emotions within. At this end time, when God's cleansing love is flooding through the entire universe, the negative emotions of all spirits on all levels of consciousness are being drawn out at an escalated rate. As they surface within before clearing out, they feel stronger, and because of this, a far greater percentage of people on the planet and in spirit will become intensely negative prior to sin forces clearing out, thus allowing easier mental access to their minds from spirits of wickedness. This will result in a far greater level of insanity from spirit possession, with most people at some stage becoming influenced to a great degree, and being thus mentally forced to carry out the evil intent of those from lower levels of consciousness, destroying others as well as self. Total spirit possession takes place instantly when thoughts activated by rising negative feelings are allowed to flow in unchecked. The increase of negative thought reasoning inflames the emotions and permits ever-increasing mental stimulation and subjugation by the possessing spirit. As the negative feelings in both parties become compounded, the process becomes unstoppable until the feeling has been satiated in both parties, after which the attaching spirit may detach. In some cases, attached spirits may stay locked in for many years, until the attracting sin essence has been lifted from the soul, or until this attaching spirit has been redirected by the light. The mental attack on the thought level will also be when we are asleep, and many will suffer horrendous nightmares. The tide, so to speak, has commenced to run in. It will escalate at an alarming rate, and on peak, the planet will become a madhouse of possessed men, women, and children, cycling in and out of insanity, so to speak, as negative emotions rise and are cleared. Those who mentally control their thought processes now will be the enlightened ones, who will be under less mental emotional stress, and thus be able to assist those in desperate need of consolation and understanding through their time of mental turmoil and suffering, and from their physical abuse to their bodies, the result of the unbelievably destructive mentality of the evil spirits who will be manipulating so many in the flesh telepathically. Spirits of wickedness use the minds of any in the flesh they can intrude into to mete out retribution against those who have in any way denied God's call to only love. Thus, as everyone to some degree has abused others and thus sinned, all are to be the target, so to speak, of people who are mentally unstable, controlled by the dark. For the dark knows all who have used it to abuse others. Thus, God says, non-retaliation in confrontation, being the only way in which we reap what we sowed and pay back our past debts to humanity and attain freedom from the darkness. The invisible power of the darkness is its spell-binding continuity of thoughts that can keep our minds going round and around in endless circles of worrying, or things to be done, or unforgiving thoughts of past happenings, all resulting in deepening stress, confusion, mental exhaustion, and energetic hype, and eventual total control over our minds that leads us into spiritual destruction. We must break the flow of negative thought intrusion. Be alert. Do not entertain any negative thought flow. If you do, you are dancing a dangerous tango with Louis the Serpent. He will mesmerize you and win your mind and then your soul. The serpent slowly controls us through our thoughts that are the inspiration of our expressed negative deeds, that eventually become more irrational and then fatal to ourselves and or others. But through the lessening of the confusing or negative thought flow, we can retain our sanity and rationality. This is only accomplished by breaking the spell of negative thought flow into our minds, which takes place momentarily each time we do the star meditation prayer, thus allowing us a little mental respite. Trust now in God. Let the light of God break the spell of the serpent's thoughts 3 times a day, using the Star of Bethlehem, the morning star prayer, giving us a little mental respite from the mental onslaught, and thus we are able to stay sane until the time that our creative God of light and love has removed out from our souls the negative emotions one by one that are the sin. For it is then and only then that the doorway to the darkness is fully closed, and then, as there is no avenue for negative thoughts to reach our minds, are we free from Satan's clutches, and clear rationality and peace within at last are found. Any who continue to consciously or unconsciously listen to thoughts from other levels are in deadly danger and will be deceived at some stage, and will not be able to abide in God's call of love, peace, and non-retaliation in confrontation, and will thus fall as they retaliate when confronted by God's reapers, who are any in the flesh, controlled telepathically from the dark. All on every level must now desist from interlevel communication and seek the sweet comfort and good counsel of our Creator direct, by the avenue of the light, being accomplished more easily in the star prayer of Bethlehem given. All need to say this star prayer. As it is said, light shines down to the next level, dazzling the serpent's eyes, and disrupting the cunning thoughts, and breaking their spell over our minds for a moment. And at this moment of time, any recipient of this light, being those linking in to us mentally on lower levels, should immediately also do the star prayer. That will release them also from thoughts erupting from lower levels into their minds, and so on down. All on any level must go up, even a tiny step. Heed the message now given in the book, The Testament of Truth, or the brief summary, and thus fortify your minds with fresh doctrine, and daily build the ark of the mind. You will also be mentally helped when listening to the ark and star tapes available. Trust in God, let it so be. Trust in God, thus you will be set free. Daily say the morning star prayer, and build the ark of the mind layer by layer. Only the Sacred Heart is inviolate. Let no dark thoughts it violate. Only let your heart be full of love, my sacred blessing from above. Possession means total control over your mind as on earth you stroll. Partial possession be when your thoughts by others infiltrated be, leading to an increase in confusion that eventually results in a deepening contusion. So to be happy and free, heed the wisdom I bring thee. Come, sweet children, abide with me, for I am the Spirit from eternity. Soon darkness deepens into fearful night. Soon all around will you see people fight. And only those who can see my star will be saved by my love from afar. So I now do my blessings bestow on all whom the Spirit of truth follow. I am the Spirit of truth.